Hello ladies, it's Menopause Barbie, your menopause tailor. And today I'm going to be your exercise tailor because we are doing a gym video. Here we are at Quality Life Fitness in Houston, Texas. And this is where I'm going to show you all kinds of great things for menopause. Now, I think we should exercise differently when we become menopausal. And I exercise differently because I am arthritic. So much of what I need to do for my arthritis is really conducive to what you need to do for menopause, because the goal for all of us is avoiding injury. We don't want to hurt ourselves. That is the one thing we don't want. And you don't need a bunch of speed, and you don't need a bunch of impact, and you don't need a bunch of heavy weights. What you need is some very focused, very aligned, and very precise movements that help you balance. Think about it. Balance. Balance is one of those things that nobody works on. Balance and flexibility are the two things that we lose the most as we age. And if you look around any gym, they're the two things that everyone works on the least. So when you were a kid and you walked on the curb and you were like, hey mom, look, no hands, and you tried things just for fun? When was the last time you did that? Well, probably about 50 years. And that's why we lose our balance. So today, you're going to see that I'm going to give you a workout. I made it up. I make all my workouts up for myself. But I inject the element of balance into everything I do. And I do that because I figure, hey, why should I spend my time lifting weights and do nothing at the same time? If I can add balance to my weightlifting, then I get two benefits with one effort, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to work with this thing called the Bosu. This is the Bosu. It's a big blue half ball, and it's called BOSU, which stands for both sides up. And that means you can use it on either side. Today, we're only going to use it standing on this blue side. So I'm going to put it on the floor with the flat side down. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use ankle weights. These are ankle weights, and what I like about these is that you can adjust how much they weigh, because the interior of these consists of all these little compartments where you can add or remove weights. So these are about 3 pounds each. And what I'm going to do is put a 3-pound ankle weight on each one of my ankles. And then I'm going to use some weights in my hands, and you're going to see that you can do all kinds of things with these toys. Okay, so here we go. Now, here I have my weights. These are 8 pounds. I don't use heavy weights. I use baby weights. 8 pounds is about right for me. I think the heaviest weight I ever use is a 12, but only when I'm lifting it with both hands at the same time. So this isn't about heavy weights. This is about injecting balance into your workout while you're doing weights. So anybody can stand on the ground with 2 feet and do bicep curls. Now, you can do bicep curls one of 2 ways. You can do both arms at the same time, which is always easier because you're balanced. Or you can do one arm at a time, which makes it a little bit harder, just because you have to compensate without leaning for the fact that you're only working out one half of your body and not the other. Now, you can make this more interesting, still standing on the floor, if you do it on one foot. So if you were to raise one foot in the air and do your bicep curls, again, you can go both arms or one arm. It's harder. And let's say you decide you want to do something with your leg and extend your knee at the same time that you do your bicep curl. That makes it even harder. But notice that my movements are very slow and very coordinated. And that's really the key to all of this. You want to have slow, coordinated movements. Now, let's do the same thing on the Bosu, because then we kind of destabilize everything. So if I stand on the Bosu with both feet, I already can feel, oh, it's a little wobbly. I have to I have to stabilize just to stand here. Well, what if I try to do a bicep curl? Well, a bicep curl makes it so that I then have to really tighten my core and balance and focus and think about this in order to do the bicep curl. And you can hold your weights any way you want. Sometimes I do it this way, sometimes I do it the other way. It doesn't really matter. What if you just use one arm? Well, again, you feel the difference because you have to stabilize on this Bosu, and you have to balance and not lean because it's not a stable surface. So now let's see if I can do that standing on the Bosu with one foot. There I go. Put one foot in the middle, and then just standing on the Bosu with one foot, that's a challenge. Now the bicep curl. Now what if I want to extend my knee? You really have to concentrate. Okay, so you can do your entire bicep workout like that. You don't have to do that many. You can do 5 on one side with one leg and then 5 with the other leg. Only do as many as you can do with good form. That's always going to be the case with all these exercises. Now, I just get kind of creative and I think, well, you know, hey, if I can do a bicep curl, then I can do a shoulder press. So let's try that. I'm going to do it on the Bosu. And you can do it on the Bosu with 2 feet on the Bosu. A shoulder press is this move. Or you can do it one arm at a time. And if you do it one arm at a time, it's always a little harder just because you have to balance. Now let's try it on the Bosu with one foot. And let's extend the leg. And by the way, whenever you wobble, you're getting better. At least that's what I like to tell myself, and that way I don't feel so bad. You're not going to fall far. Just realize you are going to wobble at first, but you know what? You will be surprised at how much better you get in about 10 minutes because you know, you just haven't practiced this stuff in ages. And so if you start practicing it, you start getting better right away. Now, what else can you do with these weights on the Bosu? Well, hey, let's do a row. And since we're standing on the Bosu, let's do a bent over row. And you could do this with both feet bending over. This is a row. That takes some skill just to balance on the Bosu with both feet. Or you can be creative and act a little bit like Cirque du Soleil. And you can do a bent over row like this. So this is just a row like any other row. I'm just doing it in an imbalanced way. So it can be fun. Now, what else can you do with these weights? Well, you know, there's always the tricep press. Now this is the one that I'll sometimes use a heavier weight because I'm going to be using both hands to hold this weight. And the tricep press is the same principle. I'm going to do it only with one leg, but everything I'm showing you, you can start on the floor with 2 feet, on the floor with 1 foot, on the Bosu with 2 feet, on the Bosu with 1 foot. And it's just a matter of progressing to your level of difficulty. Now, don't expect that every one of these will be at the same level of complexity for you. There'll be some things that you can do on the Bosu and some things you can't do on the Bosu. And that's just the way it works. But that makes it kind of fun because you have something to work toward with every single exercise. With the tricep press, what you're wanting to do is raise your arms over your head, and then you're going to bring your arms down and back up, bending only at your elbow. This is the exercise, bending at the elbow. So now if I try this same thing on one foot, it's harder. And if I try this same thing, extending my knee, it's harder, but it's more fun. So see, this is the kind of thing you would do if you were a kid making up exercises. And I think that we should still do that. Why should we not make up exercises? Even though we're big kids, we can do the kinds of exercises that work for us. Now, here's another one. Now, I use very tiny baby weights for this because this is a lateral raise with the arm and a front raise with the arm. And my arms are very long. So the longer the lever, which is my arm, the lighter the weight. And so I'm going to use tiny baby weights. You may be able to do much heavier weights than I can, but that's just my reality. So a lateral raise with both arms would be like this. A lateral raise on one leg would be like this. A lateral raise with a raise of the leg at the same time, but the opposite leg would be like this. Now this takes a lot of balance, even though I'm standing on the floor. I'm raising the opposite arm and the opposite leg both out to the side. Now let's try that same thing on the Bosu. We stand on the Bosu, and again, you can do all those ramifications on the Bosu with two legs, one leg. We're going to try one leg and one arm. So it's going to be something like this. And I'm doing my best to keep my leg and my arm straight. And notice that the movement is not a jerky one. I'm not flinging my leg or my arm up. I'm raising them in a controlled manner. And then you would do the same thing on the opposite side because you want to be balanced. You want to balance and be balanced. Now, let's do all that with a front raise. A front raise is like this, where you raise your arm forward instead of to the side. And you can do that same thing on one foot. Or you can be more creative about it and you can raise both your arm and your leg in a coordinated way. And then you can do the same thing on the Bosu. And that just is the same maneuver with your foot in the very center of the Bosu, and you just do a very slow, steady maneuver. What else can we do? Oh, I know, a fly. How about the fly? This is the fly. It's this movement. If you did it on the ground, you would do this. It's a very slow, steady movement. You'd put your knees together, almost in a squat position, and you go out to the sides very slowly. Now, you see people jerk their arms up. Don't jerk. Don't go quickly. It's not worth it. You're going to pull your neck. You're going to hurt yourself. It's not worth it. You can do the very same thing with 2 feet on the Bosu. Takes a little bit of balance because you have to concentrate and keep your posture on an unstable surface. Now, I like to get kind of creative, and I like to do that same thing on one foot. So here's the 1 foot maneuver. Remember, I made all of these up. And the foot is optional. I like to raise my foot. That's like my latest maneuver on that one. I used to just do it with my legs sticking straight out, but I thought, what can I do that's even more complicated? That's how I do all of these, okay? The idea is to make things more and more difficult as you go along because you can. It's to have fun and make things more difficult. Now, You can also just play on the Bosu with no weights at all. And when you do that, you just take off your weights. Loud. And then you just stand on the Bosu and just see if you can stand on the Bosu with 2 legs. Then try standing with 1 and see if you can just balance. Just hold your posture. Maybe you can put your leg straight. Maybe you can extend it out to the side. Maybe you can bring it around. Maybe you can bring it all the way around and bend over. I call that one my ballerina move. All of this is nothing more than playing with balance and doing it in a fun way with these toys and challenging yourself a little bit. You know, ladies, we fall and break our hips as we get older because we have no balance. This kind of exercise keeps you from falling and breaking your hip. It allows you to have that balance that keeps you from falling. So please, please, please work on your balance. Don't be one of those people who does everything but balance work and then falls and breaks your hip. And I can't stress this enough. If you look around any gym, you will see everybody working on speed, impact, heavy weight, and everything else but balance. And the problem is balance is what we all need the most. So have fun, enjoy these options, and you can make things up on your own. You do not have to stick with anything traditional. Anything you see someone doing off the Bosu, try it on the Bosu and see how you do. And just take it in baby steps and be very, very careful and thoughtful about it. Go off into the corner of the gym, in front of a mirror maybe, and just really focus and think about what you're doing, and you'll enjoy it. And within about 10 minutes, you'll be better. So, thanks for coming to the gym and playing with me today. I'll show you some more balance exercises later on. And thank you for Quality Life Fitness and letting me use their gym. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see you again in a week when we'll do something else. Take care. Bye.